Hey guys, this is a super important video, and I know it's long, but I ask that you bear with the length of it and watch it all the way through. This is the kind of thing where criminal activity is excused and applauded, and in a lot of cases, rewarded. And if it wasn't for the video camera recording the actions of law enforcers, things would be way worse. So please watch this. If you consider it as important a problem as I do, please give this video a like and share it with everybody you know. When injustice becomes law, resistance has to be our duty. Hey guys, study after study shows that if you want strong bones and muscles, healthy hair, skin, teeth, and nails, you need the 5 types of collagen in your diet. I get mine from BioTrust. I've got a link in the description with a massive discount, and it'll tell you all about it. A couple years ago when this first went down, I dealt with this. And this story is old, but it is all still very relevant, guys. I want to talk about Joey Mulero from the DeLand, Florida Police Department. I want to talk about what he did, who he did it to, how the police force responded to it, and what the final ruling was in the scenario. If you'll remember, and let me go to this. If you'll remember, he committed a violent act and violence and a crime on a member of the public. I want to show you this, and I want to go through some of this. Here, let me just go ahead and roll this video. Here is his first interaction with a member of the public, a 69-year-old veteran member of the public. Listen to this.
Can we get away from the power lines? Let's start with that.
Yeah, sure. What?
Get away from the power lines. Let's sit over here for a minute.
Oh, I didn't know we were.
You don't see the power lines?
I mean, I didn't even look up.
Okay, well, maybe you should pay attention.
Okay.
Have a seat over there. Get away from me. Sit over there.
You're pushing me away from you?
Yeah.
This man's name, according to reports, is Alan Kidd. He's 69 years old. According to those same reports, he is not just a member of the public, he is a veteran. And he was standing out on a street corner, reportedly yelling at vehicles. This man and another man who's off screen that I'm not even going to deal with because it's really not germane to this video. They were just basically talking on the side of the road. But listen to how Joey Mulero, Officer Joey Mulero from the DeLand, Florida Police Department, treats this guy like that. I mean, just snap. We're only 23 seconds into this interaction. Listen to how he just snaps.
I don't need you stepping up to me like that. Sit down.
Stepping up to you?
Sit down, or I'm going to sit you down.
I wasn't stepping up to you, sir.
Sit down. Sit down. Do you understand that? When I tell you to do something, you do it.
Yeah, is that right?
Okay.
You're on a power trip? Is that what?
That's hands-on, guys. That is hands-on. That's called assault. This is where you have 2 books. Rules for thee, but not for me. If you did to this man right here, this 69-year-old, what Joey Mulero is doing, you would be charged with assault. And it doesn't matter. In reality, it doesn't matter that Joey Mulero is wearing a uniform, a badge, and comes with the authority of the state and calls himself a police officer. He's a human being assaulting another human being. And this magical, fictional blanket that covers and obscures people's ability to see clearly what this actual interaction is and calling it for what it is mind-blowing. And that's why I'm going over this video right here. It's very important that people understand that human beings are interacting with, a human being is interacting with another human being here. And that's it. And if you did what this cop is doing, you'd be thrown into jail for the commission of a crime called assaulting another person.
Power trip? Is that what it is?
No.
Okay.
I need you to listen.
That's exactly what it is. This is a power trip. This is for some reason, when this universe was made or whatever it is, there's a universal principle that power, that intangible thing that changes the psyche of people, power corrupts. And absolute power, which is what police officers and judges and lawyers and politicians and banksters and corporate oligarchs exercise. Power, absolute power corrupts. And that's what you're seeing here is the corrupting influence of power on the psyche of a human being named Joey Mulero. Let's call it what it is.
What's up? So what's going on with you today?
Nothing. I'm just standing on the street corner talking to this guy I just met, and all of a sudden you're pushing me down and being real physical with me.
You know
and
why?
I don't understand. No, I don't know.
So Joey Mulero just admitted that he is pushing him down and treating him in a physical way. And then Joey Mulero goes, you know why? No, this 69-year-old, nowhere in video or audio is there any evidence that this 69-year-old committed any crime at all.
Why?
Lower your voice. Lower your voice.
Really?
Okay?
Do I have to do this?
Yes,
You
I'm
command
telling you
me?
the voice.
Okay.
Listen to me.
Because
I'm going to
you got
tell
a
you one
tin
more time.
badge on?
I'm
Is
going to
that
tell you
what it
one more
is?
time, and you're going to go to jail.
Is that right?
Lower your voice, or you're going to
Listen to
jail.
this guy, okay?
Alan here, Alan Kidd, doesn't even have an elevated voice. The person who's saying, lower your voice right now is the one who has the elevated voice. Listen to this again.
You're going to
Listen to
jail.
this guy.
I mean, you're going to go to jail.
Is that right?
Lower your voice, or you're going to
Listen to
jail.
this guy, okay? Do you believe in this?
Lower your
Shit.
voice, or you're going to jail.
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
you're
not
going to go to
increasing my
jail.
base.
So listen, we are going to start over again. So you.
Guys, I know you've seen this video before. Please hang tight because there is an icing on the cake. This officer gets fired for doing what he does here, right here. The basis of the termination of his employment is for how he treated Alan Kidd, 69-year-old Alan Kidd right here. The basis of the termination was because of what he did, and the cop gets his job back at the exact same police department. And everybody admits that what Joey Mulero did right here was a fireable offense. Listen to this.
You can learn. Go ahead and keep moving forward. I'm going to lay you out on the
I'm
ground.
just trying to get more comfortable, okay?
You are going to calm down, and we're going to have a normal conversation,
you even
and you're
stop
going to
here?
understand why I'm here.
Okay,
if you
tell me.
shut up and listen for a minute, you
Tell
will
me.
understand.
I'm ready.
We were called here because you were here, supposedly yelling at the cars and causing a scene.
Negative.
Okay,
That-
are you
that-
going to stop talking so
that
I
is
can explain
negative,
to you?
okay?
You're about to go to
I
jail.
wasn't yelling at
You're
any cars,
about
okay?
to go to jail. That is the last time that I tell you. Next time you're going to have handcuffs on you and you're going to jail.
So when he says you're going to jail, what is that? Going to jail, it's almost like euphemistic. What is really happening here? A man is telling another man, I'm going to take away 100% of your freedoms. I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to kidnap you, and I'm going to throw you into a cage for having committed no crime. Alan Kidd has yet to commit any infraction or any crime. Even going against he's not even going against any policy.
We were called here based on what's going on. Whether it's true or not, it is not. I have no clue. That's why I'm here, to figure out what's going on with you. When you walk up to an officer and you get that close to an officer, it is not good. Why? Because now you're in my personal space. So I am telling you to back up, and when you don't back up,
for you,
yes, when
to
I
get
give
in
you an
my
order,
personal space,
right? Because when
okay?
I give you,
Look at that. So he affirms that. The cop affirms that. The cop is basically saying you can't get in my personal space, but when questioned on it, when Alan Kidd says, but it's okay for you to get in my space, and the cop goes, yep, it sure is. That's that qualified immunity. That's that badges and uniforms grant special rights attitude that is admitted to by Joey Mulero. And it's not just limited to Joey Mulero, guys. This happens every single day in police departments all across the nation and around the world. Every single day. Because they really, really believe that they have more rights than you.
an order,
because you're on a power trip. Because
when I give you an order,
badge. Is that right?
because when I give you an order and you don't follow it,
Alan Kidd, I love you, buddy. I love you. In the face of a power tripping tyrant with a gun, he's saying, you're on a power trip, and he's absolutely right.
that's what happens. I told you to back up and you didn't. I told you back up again or I'm going to sit you down and you didn't. So I sat you down. That's how it works. Do you have ID on you?
Here we go.
Huh?
Do you have ID on you, sir?
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
sure do.
Here we go. Criminal activity.
I don't understand why you're doing this. Why you're pushing me
Because I don't
around.
like people testing me. I don't like people
I don't
not
like
following
fucking
my
Nazis
orders.
either. Okay.
There you go. There you go. Hands on.
Are you done?
Handcuffed.
Can I show you my ID?
Roughing him up.
Give me your arm.
Assault.
Give me your arm.
Can I?
This is assault by 2 badged armed thugs. That's what this is. This is criminal activity in progress, in broad daylight, on camera. Let's call it what it is and wipe away all the euphemisms that are designed to minimize the actual truth of the matter.
Show you my ID.
Hold on, let's get his backpack off.
They're doing this on camera, guys. What do these people do when the cameras aren't rolling?
Can I have my ID back,
Be quiet.
please?
Nobody treats another
Spread your
human
feet.
being like that. This cop's got problems. Deep, serious
Holding that for
anger
a second.
problems.
I'll put on my gloves.
Can you please
69
pick
years
up my
old.
ID before
We
go?
will.
I've done nothing.
Stop talking!
What?
Just gonna fast forward this.
Stay in the car.
2 people are committing crimes here, guys. Not just the guy that initially went hands
I'm
on,
not
putting
going
the gloves
anywhere,
on
but
right
I
here.
don't
Not just
understand
Mulero.
what's going on. Okay.
You're going to jail.
Right? Hey, look away from him.
Going to jail. First of all, the cops have not said that he's committed any crime. Listen to what Alan says.
I don't understand what I've done wrong.
I don't
okay?
understand what I've done wrong.
Have a seat.
He's done nothing wrong. Nothing. Now let me show you something so stinking egregious. Look at this. This is the cop that you saw putting those gloves on. This is Joey Mulero. And he gets his job back. Fired DeLand officer gets his job back after arbiter finds issues with the internal investigation. They admit that Joey Mulero gets his job back because of a technicality after they admit that Joey Mulero victimized Alan Kidd. Watch this. Let me just show you. They did a whole news report on this. Let me expand this so you can see it because it is freaking mind-blowing. This happens every single day, guys. This is not an isolated case. And we've got to highlight this stuff and we got to talk about it and never stop talking about it. A DeLand police officer was fired Monday after internal investigation determined use of excessive and unreasonable actions. If they laid that crime at your feet, they wouldn't say, yeah, Brian was engaged in excessive and unreasonable actions. They'd say he committed a crime and therefore this crime was a felony and he's going to jail. Not he might lose his job. He might get temporarily suspended with pay. While arresting a man last year, DeLand police officer Joey Mulero was fired after body camera video of the incident was reviewed by authorities. Listen to the wording here. Officials said Mulero was responding to a call about a man who apparently was yelling at cars. The man denied the accusation, saying that he was talking to another man about spiritual things. Mulero dismissed the other man from the scene. That's the guy that you didn't see in that video because I cut it out because it didn't have anything to do with this. After he said he was just trying to help the man. In the video, Mulero is seen pushing the man who Mulero said got into his personal space after some back and forth. Wait a second. Let's see. This is not the one. I wanted to show you what the police chief said right here. Okay, the DeLand officer fired for making a wrongful arrest will be back on the force following an appeal to the city's decision to fire him after an arbiter found issues with the investigation into the incident leading to his dismissal. So they got the crime on videotape, but because of an arbiter's technicality in the internal investigation, they decided to go ahead and just let the case go and bring the guy back on the force after the people of the city realized that what Mulero did was way out of line and he should have been fired. The city officials determined that. The chief of police determined that. The initial investigation from the arbiters determined that. But because of a technicality, it overrode the actual crime that was committed on tape. It's just so egregious. I can't even put it into words. Officer Joey Mulero was fired December 18th after the DeLand Police Department internal investigation determined he used excessive and unreasonable actions. That's just a euphemism for, covering up for real crime. A real felony was committed here. Actions while arresting a man. The charges of the arrest were dropped and the man sued the city. The litigation was later settled outside of court. So they settled with this guy because a crime indeed was committed against him, an egregious act, and there's really a criminal that was engaged in this whole process, and that was Joey Mulero, police officer Joey Mulero. Mulero's union, it's that thin blue line union, the Internal Union of Police Associations. How about the Internal Union of Thin Blue Line Thug Associations is what they should call it, filed an appeal of the city's decision on his behalf. 2 arbitration hearings were held last year and opened to the public in July and November prior to the decision on March 13th. According to the 23-page ruling submitted by the arbiter Christopher, this guy right here, the city had justified cause to discipline Mulero but not discharge him due to several issues with the internal affairs investigation. Listen to how this gets worse as we continue reading this. In a statement, the city of DeLand said it will abide by the arbiter's ruling, but, quote, we are extremely disappointed and dismayed. This is the city talking here. This is the people who represent the city, that the arbiter upheld the city's finding of fact concerning Mulero's misconduct. How about crime? And agreed it was a dismissible offense. In other words, everybody agrees he should have been fired, only to then contradict those findings by deciding to reinstate him. And here's what they say. This exposes a serious flaw in the system that allows an officer with a history of misconduct to continue their employment without facing the appropriate consequences for their actions. They're basically saying, hey, we all know Mulero's a bad dude, but we have to take him back on the force because there was a technicality in the initial investigation. Amazing. Everybody's going to say it too. The police chief's going to say it. The city council says it. Everybody in the city knows it. Mulero himself admits that he did wrong. Listen to Mulero's statement. During a December 2018 hearing with union representatives and police chief Jason Umberger, Mulero said of the incident, I had a bad day, a really bad day, and wish I could go back. I just don't want this to define me as the wrong officer. Hey, I got news for you, Mulero. Everybody knows that you have a history of misconduct with multiple members of the community. And it goes on to say that in this report. Guys, stay tuned, because wait till you hear the actual report from the city. It's like, yeah, we all know he's a criminal, but he's going to be a police officer anyway. We know he committed a crime, and we know it's not just one crime, but he has a pattern of misrepresenting the police department and committing crimes with members of the public, but we're going to give him a badge and a gun anyway. What a great idea. What a smashing idea. The arbiter agreed that Mulero's actions could have warranted losing his job, and he did not accept, as Mulero claimed, he was just having a bad day because of the other videos, there's plural, showing his interactions with members of the public. Mulero, quote, has tended to react aggressively whenever a member of the public is anything but immediately compliant and fawningly polite, the arbiter wrote. In other words, yeah, this guy's a clear tyrant. Anytime a member of the public is anything other than immediately compliant and fawningly polite, Mulero just goes off on him. And he has a uniform, a badge, a gun, a utility belt, and a police cruiser to this day, and he's interacting with members of the public. Wow. That would be tantamount to hiring Jeffrey Dahmer to dish out food in the school cafeteria. Wow, my God. Yeah, Jeffrey's made some mistakes in the past, and we got it all on video, and he's admitted to all the crimes, but he's dishing out the potato salad at the local high school today. Wow. Mulero, quote, engaged in extremely serious misconduct, call it what it is, criminal activity, in broad daylight on camera, and should receive similar serious discipline, substantial additional training, a last chance, and removal from field training officer status, the arbiter wrote in his rulings. However, Mulero's grievance filed was sustained. They accepted the grievance and let it stand in part, and the city was ordered to reinstate him with conditions due to several issues with the DeLand Police Department internal investigation, according to the ruling. So they have to submit to the demands of the police union because of a technicality in the initial investigation. The department failed to comply with law enforcement officers' bill. The department failed to comply with the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights. Can anything be more ironic? As Mulero interfered with and demolished the Bill of Rights, the personal Bill of Rights of Allen, 69-year-old veteran Allen, they're gonna use as a heavier weight the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights in this ruling on several grounds, according to the arbiter. The city, here's one of the technicalities. The city was unable to provide a video and audio tapes of interviews with the man Mulero arrested, made during the internal investigation. Quote, so they were available for comparison to the typewritten statement. So because they didn't have the video and audio that complemented the written statement, that was one of the technicalities that brought criminal Mulero, back on the force. That had more weight in the eyes of the police union than the videotape showing that the crime was actually committed by Mulero and Allen was actually victimized. Wait, guys, you got to stay tuned for the city's. I'm going to read the exact verbatim what the city wrote about this. It is shameful. The arbiter also found issue with Deputy Chief Gary Batten's role in the analysis and conclusions made in the IA report. Batten changed the conclusion for the excessive force charge from not sustained to sustained and deleted the explanatory clause in the IA sergeant had given for his earlier not sustained outcome, according to the arbiter's ruling. So because there was a conflict between that's another reason Mulero was brought in the force. Let me just go ahead and read this to you, okay? So the city was required to make sure that the investigation was conducted properly, but didn't, the arbiter determined. Here's the actual letter. This is the actual statement by the city of DeLand. In December 2018, the city terminated the employment of officer, Johan Mulero, following a disturbing incident during which he mistreated and wrongfully arrested a DeLand resident. Call it what it is. Stop sugarcoating terminology and phraseology because the guy has a uniform, a badge, and a gun. It's not just mistreated and wrongfully arrested, committed a crime against a member of the public. Mr. Mulero appealed the city's decision, as is his right, and the city and Mulero both presented their cases to an independent arbiter late last year. During this hearing, the city presented Mulero's body-worn camera footage, which showed that the incident mentioned above was not an isolated one. So Mulero has a pattern of mistreating members of the public. It's not just one case. You didn't just have a bad day, Mulero. This is who you are. This is what you do. This is how you operate. This is how you treat members of the public, buddy. But rather represented, look, a pattern of misconduct by Mulero in his interactions with members of the public during his tenure with the police department. Everybody, oh yeah, that's old Joey Mulero again. Yeah, mistreating the public. Yeah, we know. We just turn a blind eye to it. Nobody stops him. That means anybody who's on the department with Mulero that doesn't stop his criminal activity is complicit in the crime. Oh my gosh, this gets me so hot under the collar. Given the same set of circumstances with Mulero or any officer, the likely outcome would have been termination. If this happened to anybody else, they would have been terminated. This isn't just isolated to Mulero. They're basically saying, hey, this kind of activity is not going to be allowed to stand in our police department, and then they let it stand in their police department. Indeed, Mulero's actions do not at all represent how we train our officers to interact with members of the public. We were notified Friday that the independent arbiter affirmed many of the city's findings, including Mulero's serious mistreatment of members, plural, of the public, not just 69-year-old Allen, and found that ordinarily the appropriate punishment for such conduct would be termination. Again, however, due to some technical issues with the city's investigation into Mulero's misconduct, the arbiter chose to effectively give Mulero a 2-year unpaid suspension and is requiring him to undergo additional training instead of upholding the city's decision to terminate his employment. Wow. While the city will abide by the arbiter, listen to this. This is the city, guys. These are people who represent the city admitting this. In a public document, in a public statement, While the city will abide by the arbiter's ruling as required, we are extremely disappointed and dismayed that the arbiter upheld the city's finding of fact concerning Mulero's misconduct, crime, and agreed it was a dismissible offense, only to then contradict those findings by deciding to reinstate him. This exposes a serious flaw in the system, you think? That allows an officer with a history of misconduct to continue their employment without facing the appropriate consequences for their actions. We know he shouldn't be a cop. We know he shouldn't be interacting with members of the public with a utility belt and a gun, but he's operating in that capacity as a cop with a utility belt and a gun. We know he shouldn't be there. Everybody knows he shouldn't be there. It's just, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of this guy right here, Kevin Strickland. Kevin Strickland's been in jail for 43 years for a triple homicide. Everybody know the original DA, the original prosecutors, the judge, the witnesses, the people who actually committed the crime all know that Kevin Strickland didn't commit the crime, and yet he's been in jail for 43 years. And the two guys who actually did commit the crime and admitted that Kevin Strickland wasn't even there and had nothing to do with it, they already served their time. Each of them got 10 years, and he's been in jail for 43 years and did nothing wrong. You're going to call it a justice system? It's an injustice system. As for Mulero, he's once again an employee of the city and the police department, and we will provide support for him to be the best person and officer he can be. He will be required to undergo extensive training and will be retrained in de-escalation techniques to ensure this type of misconduct never occurs again. Man, if I live in DeLand, I'd be following Joey Mulero every single freaking day. Every day. I'd be issuing FOIA requests to get his body-worn camera and his dash cam every single day. Because obviously the police department hasn't been doing that. We hope this serves as a learning experience on what it means to be a police officer and is used by him as an opportunity to grow as a person. You know what he really violated? He violated a natural law, which is perfectly articulated in 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. And that's exactly what Joey Mulero did when he decided to go hands-on with Alan, 69-year-old Alan here. When he went hands-on with this guy right here, he violated 18 U.S.C. 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. I'm not going to read all this, but it says, whoever, including Joey Mulero, under color of any law, which Mulero wasn't even operating under their own laws. He was just arbitrarily dispensing evil. That's what he was doing. He was just committing a crime, creating victims. Whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person to any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured and protected by the Constitution, ... He shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for any term of years or for life or both, or may be sentenced to. What's that, Joey Mulero? He violated this 18 U.S.C. 242 isn't a law because the federal code demands that it's a law. This is just a recognition of natural law. You violate somebody's rights, that's a serious freaking issue, buddy. And for Joey Mulero to do what he did and for the police department to hire him back because of a freaking technicality, look at this guy smiling on the Facebook page. Look at this guy. This guy is a known criminal, given a uniform, a badge, and a gun, and the authority to go out and do what he's been doing all along, committing crimes in the name of the state. And the only reason they had to do anything is because they got it on camera. If this wasn't recorded, Joey Mulero, there would be no bump in the road for him. This is evil. It's downright evil. And I'll just end it here because I wasn't intending on rambling this long. Forgive me. But this is evil, man. We got to root out the evil from this country and this world. We got to hold the line. There is principle. There are standards. There is right and there is wrong. And we got to reject the wrong and go with the right every time. I don't care about technicalities. Crime is crime no matter who commits it. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. Don't forget to subscribe to me on BitChute and Odyssey if you want to support the channel. PayPal, Patreon, Bitcoin. Subscribe to our links are in the description below. Grab a hard-hitting conversation starting shirt. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.